RMD, EMD, or SCMD that you wish you would have known 5 years ago, or when you were at a rank when you were up and coming?
Qualifying questions so that I can quickly qualify if somebody's really looking for a change in their life, or if I'm just gonna, in the end, waste a lot of time trying to help them change and they're not really willing to change.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Oh, I would say, I wish I had known that less is more in terms of what you communicate about your business, that not to over talk and talk them in and out of the business in the same conversation. That would have been helpful, because I lost some good people that I fire hosed.
My first upline mentor in this business said, he was from Texas, he's from Dallas, he said, "Now Alice, don't you show up and throw up. All right, don't you show up and throw up. You're talking way too much. Quit showing up and throwing up."
I would have to say that I really wish I would have known the importance of a system and just not trying to go out there and do whatever. Like, I couldn't even tell you what it is that I did. But I think that the importance of a system, because usually when people start out, me absolutely included, is I didn't have any really self-confidence or self-esteem. So I think that that's what a system does for you, is that you don't need to have the confidence. The confidence is in the system that you're running.
Yeah.
That was good. Did you hear that clap? That's good. Okay. Number one, don't fill up leaky tires. I mean, you want these people to do so well that you just do everything for them, and they are like dead people, and you just pull them over the goal line, and you just want to blow your brains out, and they aren't the people that are going to take you where you need to go in the business, and everybody's getting ripped off. So the thing that I finally had to learn was, even though there was a ton of potential is meaningless. You want people with desire, and I can tell you, if you'll just remember that and let people look for you and be there, it's going to save you so much aggravation, because this is a hard business. If we didn't emphasize that, I mean, this is really, really hard, because you're in the vitamin business, you're in the money business, you're in the hope business, and you are natural born leaders, and you've got to take those leadership skills and take somebody there. One of my great fears when I first got in network marketing was that I was going to go broke enthusiastically and take other people with me. That's what you don't want to do. I mean, and until you learn these skills at the Mega CEO School, whatever the heck that thing's called, and the various websites. Did I mention mastersoфenrollment.com? So anyway, no matter what it is, it's called YGY CEO School. What's the name of your site, Scott, that you're using as a training site these days?
YGY90dayblitz.com.
YGY90dayblitz.com. Find the one that's going to work for you. Find the one that's going to vibrate in you like it's going out of style, and get after it. Be your best you, and stop trying to, I have always been the target of multi-level marketers. All my life. I mean, from the early days of 17 years old until I was 37 when I finally got into network marketing, not Youngevity. When I was 37. So all those years, people were hammering me with multi-level marketing opportunities that I wanted no part of. But then when I was 37, it was the only house on the block, and I was chasing people to get into multi-level marketing. And so if you don't completely bruise people with your pitch because your agenda says they should get in today, and let them realize on their terms when to get in, your life's going to get a lot better. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
You can clap.
Start your back to your phone.
Stop it! trying to do that, so like, don't get my cross.
It was an accident.
Tom built
I
his
didn't sit by
entire
you,
business
Tom.
on shock value, so expect anything to
Oh, in my
happen.
Youngevity
Shock value is
days.
my life.
Yeah.
I was gonna say that if you asked a dumb question, we have a trap door up here, but I think we'll just make Tom stand on the trap door and send him right down to the crux.
Oh, another thing without a microphone.
You need to wipe off my foot.
Okay, good. Please have fun doing this. That's the name of the game. I mean, how many people live on this planet? A lot. You can afford to piss off a few.
Yeah. You know, people are constantly watching what you do with this business. They're always watching you. When you don't think they're looking, they're looking. They're watching. It never ends. So when you decide to build this business, do yourself a favor and do all of your future prospects a favor and really just go build the business.
Yeah.
Don't say you're going to do it, but then just kind of do it or sort of do it. Could you imagine if I proposed to her and said, I'm about 50% positive you're the woman of my dreams? Would she have even responded to that? She had told me to take a hike. So how many prospects will tell you to take a hike? What will it cost you if you don't really lead by example and be the upline that you're supposed to be for other people to be magnetized to? Does that make sense? Yeah. So if you go to a dog race or a horse race or a car race or a foot race or a track and field event, do you want to see people kind of perform or do you want to see them perform?
Perform. Perform.
Perform, right?
Yeah.
Wouldn't you be bored to tears if the gate went back and all the dogs, the greyhounds or the rabbits or the horses came out of the gate, but they were only like at 25% capacity of running?
Hell no.
You'd be like, what did I just pay for? What did I get into this for? Why am I sitting here? This is boring. So you're the same way. People are watching you. So really go build the business. And by the way, for those of you that have been here for a year, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, some of you in this room have been here that long, you've been aware of Youngevity that long, let me give you a great piece of advice on building your story. Don't wear the badge of honor that says, I'm a regional marketing director and I've been here for 10 years. That's a bad story waiting to happen. So a better story waiting to happen is for you to say, you know what? It's unbelievable. I first got into this company because I was fascinated with the message and the quality of the message with Youngevity, and I have enjoyed using these products. But you know what? I've learned that there's another angle to this company, and it's called building a life, building a future, and having legacy lifestyle. And I've just recently decided to draw a line in the sand and step to the other side of that, and I'm just getting started. Want to join me? You see how that sounds? That's different than I'm just kind of sucking wind and I've been limping along for 10 years and I still haven't figured it out yet. But if you say, here's why I got involved to start with, but I've since realized or come to the conclusion there's so much more than meets the eye, I've drawn a line in the sand, I've stepped to the other side, now I'm building something for my family. And people will be very attracted to that. Does that make sense? Okay. What'd you think of that, Tom?
I thought that was awesome.
See, Cheryl? I always look to my upline. You want the upline?
Don't, because he might do something to me with it.
Just give it to me.
Yeah.
In your pocket.
I'll put it in my pocket.
For later, right, Tom?
He's my downline. I'll do anything for the guy.
As you do for me. Yeah.
Including, he'll even hold my hand in public.
I won't go that far. I bloody well hope not. I bloody well hope not.
There were circumstances that I couldn't explain them all.
Well, we are like
I have a
family,
question
mate.
for the two
We are
ladies
like
on
family,
the panel.
mate. We are.
What is
Well, yeah, I'm getting
either
family.
your best tip or a best tip for attracting strong female leaders to your team, or working and keeping the strong female leaders, or what is a mistake that you see us guys making with potential strong female leaders that we need to adjust? Think about
Well, I have found that the best way to attract strong female leaders is don't compete with them. That's like my number one. I mean, and really be in the, let them, shine. Let them be who they are. Like, that's my favorite thing to do. I would, you guys, how many of you would love to have Tom Chenault on your team and just sit in the back and go, you are so freaking awesome. Yeah. It's true. Because you know what? I benefit from all of the great things that he does. So I really think you have to cheer everyone on, not just women, but especially when I was younger, I would never do that. It was always a competition to me. Instead of, I didn't feel comfortable in my own skin, in my own self at all. And so what I have learned over such a long time is to really find what is so great about them and then lift them up. So what if I can do something? That doesn't matter. What matters to me is how I can help somebody else get to where they want. And I think especially with women, it's best to do that. Now, I guess, and I think another question was, what was the other question, Alex? What can I help Tom with so that he can get some strong women?
That was it.
Well, I'm not going to say that.
So, you seem to attract the type of people that are where you're at in life. So, for me, being at home with the kids has been where I've been at for many years now. And now that they're getting to more of an independent age, where the youngest is 11, the oldest is 17, I can be a lot more involved with the weekly meetings and supporting our team because they're not as needy. So I have to remember that when I'm talking to other moms that are in my circle based on who my kids are friends with, and I've introduced them quite a few lately to the company, and they are looking to me to see how do you fit in this business into your busy life with all the carpooling and the responsibilities and coming to meetings in the evening, and some of them have little toddlers, which I don't have anymore. So I have to remember that for them to be attractive and to become that strong woman leader is not to expect them to be some power career mom right now, trying to do both and doing neither one well. So I just meet them where they're at and work with however much time they can give. And it might just be saying, maybe your husband should stay home tonight with your kids so that you can come to the meeting. We had one couple that fought over who was coming to the meeting the week before we came here. He said, well, honey, I'm going to the meeting, and they have 3 little girls. And she said, you are not, I have makeup on, I'm dressed, I'm getting out of here, you are on duty. And she tore out of there, and he was like, what's going on? I thought I was going to the meeting. So it just depends on the situation. We just love having more women leaders, and we put them up front at our weekly meetings so that they can, even if it's not a perfect presentation because they're newer, we still want to uplift them. So we love having more women on our team. Tom, if you just don't grab them in the rear end, then they'll stick around on your team. He threatened to do that to me every time I came up. He's like, I'm going to smack you when you...
I was going to spank her all the way up to the front row. She was moving a little slow. It's really nice being 65 years old, by the way. Because I've gone from like creeper to this, just this doddering old man that they just humor now. So it's very beautiful. So here's the deal. I wanted the microphone about this because I am on the board of a couple of huge associations in the U.S. that are it's all women. This whole profession is all women. Women run this profession. The only place that women aren't present is on the stages at conventions, and it is wrong. And it's on the companies, it's on Scott and I and Manfred to make sure that the women get the microphone because they're doing the majority of the work out there. And it is such a beautiful thing, and we know, I'm around so many of the conversations around watching women balance their lives and being great moms and doing the various things that they have to do to make a living and have a family and do all the things they do. And I'm telling you, if you're married to a woman, or you probably, I don't even know how I'm saying it, Bring them up. I mean, my wife, when I first met my wife, she did not like multi-level marketing. And I waited for her, and she spent 5 or 6 years trying to be just like me, which is a terrible mistake. And finally she realized that there was never going to be a day that was going to happen, and she decided to grab her own power. And today she's one of the top 24 network marketers in the world because she decided to do that. But every woman in this room has that inside of them. And I am telling you what, for my money, recruit women. The women, you know, try to get a man. I don't even know how I want to say that. The women are the power. The women are the power. They make the decisions in the family. They're doing the work. They're sweating it out. The women are the power, and we are not playing like that. And I'm telling everybody in this room, no matter who you are, recruit and empower and give the microphone to more women.
So I'd like to start with Manfred and go back this way on the next question. You all have been in the industry a long time. You've developed leadership, and developing leadership is the key to winning in this business and creating a big income and helping as many people as possible. But it seems to be that a lot of the people you enroll, especially when you're newer to this business or as you're coming up, that you think are going to be great leaders aren't, and it's someone that you didn't think, and maybe you didn't pay a lot of attention to, that all of a sudden starts to rise, and then you start to work with them. Now that you've seen that and you've developed leadership, what advice can you give everybody here and what to look for in a person that could be their next great leader?
The first advice is you take a piece of paper, you fold it in half, or you draw a line down the middle, and on one side of the piece of paper you write all the characteristics you want in a person that you really want to work with for the rest of your life. It's a bit like a partnership. It's you're looking for a person that you're going on holiday with together. I say if you don't want them on your dinner table, or you don't trust them with your kids, don't invite them into your business, because it is that kind of business. They will be sitting on your kitchen table, and you will have to trust them with your kids. So it's finding out those characteristics. And on the other half of the paper, write the characteristics that you don't want more of in your life. And the clearer you get in who you're looking for, two things happen. One, on that positive side, you look down that side and you become more of that yourself, just by being aware of who you're looking for. Right? You need to become that. If you find yourself on the other side of the page a bit, you let those things go more. And it's not about being perfect tomorrow, it's about doing a few more things right and a few less things wrong, and consciously making those changes. And then when the right person shows up in front of you, you will actually have that qualifying conversation. While if you're not clear who you're looking for, you will have the conversation with the wrong people more often because they are easier to talk to. Right? So you spend a lot of time with the wrong people and you miss a lot of the time the right people, and you walk away from a conversation and think, oh, maybe I should have asked a few more questions. And next thing, that person joins either another company or another upline in your company, and next thing they appear on the stage and you go, I should have invited them. So,
didn't that happen to you at this event?
It did. I also always say, like, when I look at Swane, who knew me when I was a hermit in the bush, and I was on nobody's list, and I didn't qualify. But when I was ready to change, I was really ready to change. And somehow that was recognized, and that's why I'm here.
Isn't that beautiful?
It is awesome. That's great. So I would say that, to the same question, yes? I would say that in the beginning, a lot of people want to profile, like what's the perfect type of person? What's the profile of somebody that would really go build this business? And you start wanting to analyze and cast judgment about this perfect person that's out there to be a network marketer. And the reality is that I've learned for myself is that it comes down to identifying the person that has a high teachability index. So if they're not teachable, I don't care who they are or what their name is or where they came from or how great they look on the outside or how wonderful they smell. If the teachability index is low, they are not going to get with the program. You're going to end up spending all your energy chasing them around. Remember the movie made in New Zealand, Lord of the Rings?
Yep.
Remember the character Schmeagol?
Schmeagol.
Yep. And so you've got this little pearl, right? And you start treating it like precious. Yeah?
The ring,
Yeah, Schmeagol, my precious. And you hoard these individuals and they're never going to go anywhere because their teachability index is low. So find people that have a high teachability index and make sure that they're the kind of person that has high humility. They're humble. High humility, high teachability index, willing to follow, be willing to be led. So how do you know if they're that person? You ask them. As soon as they have the information and they can respond, you ask the question. It's the fastest way to find out if somebody wants to get married is you ask them. So I would literally say, for example, to Manfred, I'd say, hey Manfred, I'm so excited for you that you see something valuable for yourself here with us at Youngevity. Here's my question for you. In order for me to effectively help you get from where you are to where you want to be, I've got to make sure that you're the kind of person that's willing to follow and take advice and to take coaching. Are you teachable? And as long as he says, yes, I'm teachable, then I know I've got a winner. Make sense?
Yep.
I just want to point something out really quick that Tom said about having fun, but it's also you want to look for people you'll have fun with.
Yeah.
I think you can tell whether it's me and Steve, or Sanjeev and Tom, or Juliet and Scott together, or Cheryl with any of us, or all of us here. One of the things that makes us strong is we have fun with each other. And that forms a strong bond. And when you have fun wherever you're working with people, there's going to be challenges, and the fun seems to really overcome them. We had fun with Marianne Listen. We try to have fun wherever we go. I know there's people in the crowd here I've worked with. We've had a lot of fun together, and that makes up for it when it is a challenge, when there is a problem, when there is a headache. You got to have people. If you're not having fun with the people you're working with, fire them. Fire them.
And for example, Alex, I know like this morning was our second day. We're gonna go for a run tomorrow. Wherever we go, we like to do like the Naked Run Club. So at 6 a.m. if you want to join us, just meet at the hotel lobby. We'll see you there.
Clothing is optional, and I would recommend wearing it.
How many just threw up in their mouth?
All right, so we want to get to something. There were 3 people that had questions. So real quick, I want to hit the 3 of you with the same question quickly, which was, now that you've developed leadership and you've seen people who you thought were going to be leaders that weren't, and probably thought weren't going to be leaders, ended up, like someone like Manfred, who was just there and you were in the right time and became a leader, but you didn't expect it. What advice would you give people on how to spot potential leaders?
I don't think you can really profile and spot a potential leader. There's no person that you can peg, that's going to be a good leader, because every time I've done that, it's been the opposite. You don't really know until you find out where they're at. You don't know what's in their head, if they have dreams that you can bring out, or if they're more of a status quo, accept where they're at type of person. And once they are in, you'll quickly find out. So, like has been said, we work with the willing. If they're willing, then we're here to work with them, and we'll give them everything to help build their dream. And if they are just giving us lip service and they're not really willing to work, then we don't just drop them immediately. We try to coach out of them what's blocking them. What's the barrier? What programming is speaking to them that's causing them to be fearful, maybe. That's a big one. Not talking to, not letting that fear be louder than their desire to change. And so we try to work with them, and then the best thing is to just go find new blood. So find new blood, and then hopefully that will inspire the other people to do what we're doing. So
It's easier to give birth than resurrect the dead.
Well, since you've given birth.
Right, Juliet?
Okay. Oh my gosh. Okay, so I really believe that it's that you have to become a person that other people are attracted to you. Because I can promise you, when I was fresh out of Taco Bell, People were not knocking on my door to join me. They were running. And so but I thought, and I've said this before, but I think it's really important. I honestly believed that you're born however you are. If you're born a stellar superstar, then that's what you are. And I never realized till about maybe a year ago that that's not true. You can become whoever you want to be, but you have to be willing to put in the work to do it. So as I remember like 4 years ago when I very first came back after taking all that time off, and I'm crying in the hall, Tom, I don't know what's wrong, no one likes me, and I can't sign a single person. I mean, it was like a real mess.
This is my upline.
It's really true. It's really true. But the whole point is that after so long, I finally realized, so you guys can really get a jump start on this, I finally realized that really it has everything to do with the amount of time and effort that I'll put into becoming a better person so that I can help other people as they're coming along. So I think that they're more attracted to me now than, believe me, 20 years ago.
Beautiful. The big question is, would you sign up with you? I think that's kind of a big question you need to ask yourself, which the answer is probably no. So that one needs to get worked on. And the cool thing about that, and Scott saw me working on it today, is I look for tells. And I tell people they have to build a list of 50 people on the product, 50 people that are business builders, and meet me tomorrow. And we're going to interview 2 people and 3-way 1 a day until we get your business going. And the next day they show up, and if there's a list of 50, it's a miracle, and I know they're serious. And then I say, we need to interview 2 people, and they go, oh, I can't interview 2 people. That's the tell. I know that they are not up to it, because somebody that knows that they can make my kind of money, I would say, you're telling me I need to interview 2? What happens if I interview 10? I mean, I'm looking for people that really, really, really want it. And I give them little tests like that to find out if I'm going to be pulling them or I'm going to be chasing them. And I want to be taking those people that are really, really going after it. So that's what I would do if I were you. Go ahead, Mr. Alex Tice.
Make sure you're spending 20 minutes a day on yourself. 20 minutes a day reading something, listening to something, or watching something educational or inspirational. Especially having to do with this business or growing yourself personally. You do that 20 minutes a day, it will start to add up like compound interest. Each one of them talked in a way about working on themselves. Make sure you spend at least 20 minutes a day working on yourself. Gentleman in the orange shirt over here, you had a question, right? Yeah.
Hi, just wanting to get a quick answer from everyone on the panel as to, in your experience, what would you do in the situation of you've spent a few years, you've built quite a large organisation, things have not necessarily gone right in your own life, and that organisation has kind of died. How do you not only get yourself to the point of resurrecting yourself, how do you get to the point of resurrecting the few ends you have going in your own business?
I would take a hard look at myself and say, okay, who was I that those people quit? Who was I that I quit on myself? And who here has serious potential? And you've got that list of people in your organization that died that you said. So you've got all those names and phone numbers. And you call them on the phone and say, look, I need to call this on myself. I didn't know what I was doing. I was the blind leading the blind. I brought you in here. And I don't know at this point, I don't know if you came for one of 3 reasons. One, to just get me to shut up, or if you just wanted to buy the product, or you wanted to build a business. So tell me which one of those 3 it's true. And they're going to say one of the 3. They're going to tell you what they were up to. And you say, okay, you want to build a business? Then now I need to interview you. And I need to get your blood type so I can help you get to your goals. Because that's where I made my mistake last time. And I want to bring us all back. So the name of the game, Solomon, is call it on yourself. Give them a profound apology that it was your fault. And let's all get on this horse and start riding again, like I told you we were going to do in the first place. And it will work for you.
There's a a saying that systems work and people fail.
That's right.
So I always think about a situation like that and I just say, okay, the person not getting the results that they wish they had or wanted to have, that is not a bad person. It's a great person. It's an unbelievable person, just misguided. And so we have to get that person back under guidance, back under coaching, back under mentorship inside of a system. So when someone starts or begins or makes the commitment to follow a system, then we know where the person ends up. It's inevitable that they always end up in the same place. That's what the system is for. You ever see the, you guys know what Play-Doh is?
Yep.
Member of the Play-Doh Fun Factory? You can take anything and stick it into the top of a Play-Doh Fun Factory as a blob, but when you compress it and mold it, it always comes out the exact shape that you intended it to be. So, a superstar. So it's impossible to not be a superstar here at Youngevity as long as you allow yourself to be shaped and molded, and it's just a decision to start doing that again.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
So I would say there's one of two possibilities. One is that you get in touch with Alex, who knows all about retention and how to call those people and rejoin them, right? Or you have a very clear decision that these weren't the right people. And then I'd say you go back to that piece of paper and you think very strongly about the characteristics those people showed you, and you make sure they are on the wrong side of that page, the people you don't want in your business. And next time you see those people, within 3 minutes of qualifying conversation, you know that they are not it.
Somebody in the middle here had a question, right? There were three people that raised their hands. We had one. Who else? Over here.
Yeah.
If you had a question, will you come out over here and speak into the microphone?
The email? No.
Hi, this is my name's Brent. I'm from Sydney. Just a quick question. We've been looking at the rebound, all right? It's obviously designed right for sports and athletes and all that. Working out a way to get it into like gymnasiums and the sports clubs, mainly for the kids, things like that. Any ideas?
Sure, I'll take the first stab at that. Our 17-year-old son, Blake, is a junior in high school. So many people would judge a young man like that and say, well, they're too young, what kind of influence could they possibly have? Well, at 14 years old, he came to us and said, Mom, Dad, I'm 14, am I too young to build a business? And I said, no. He says, because I want to build a business. How can I be successful when, you know, somebody may not take me seriously? So to your point about rebound, drinks, sports and energy drinks, who really drinks those like they're coming out of style?
Everyone.
Those kids. They drink those things like they are going out of style. They're in every backpack. They're in every sport niche that there could be, whether it's your football or soccer or baseball or you name it. Every dugout, every bench has kids sucking down those kinds of drinks. So I told my son, I said, one thing that you can do is now, instead of drinking your, Gatorade bottle that is clearly advertising Gatorade, drink something that doesn't have another label on it that's clear and put Rebound inside of your container and watch what happens. So he started doing that, and other kids on the team would be like, hey, Blake, what flavor of Gatorade is that? He'd say, it's not Gatorade. Well, what is it? And rather than saying Rebound, he would say something like, this is what I drink when I want to bring my very best out onto the field.
Wow.
And so, yeah. So remember we said success leaves
Curiosity.
clues. The fact would have been, hey, it's this product called Rebound, it's got these ingredients in here, and it's like Gatorade. And they'd be like, oh, that's cool. But when you make a profound statement and you say something like, this is what I drink when I want to be the best player on the team, when I want to leave it all on the field, they go, well, what is that? and this is what I drink when I want to pay for college in cash instead of taking out student loans.
Wow, what?
And so then people would say things like, oh, well, how do I do that? I don't know, but why don't you have your dad call my dad later on tonight after the game, and he can find out how to pay cash for your college instead of taking out student loans. And then we started getting those phone calls. So we did a whole program called Cash for College. All that around your question of what do you do with sport drinks.
One of the easiest things to do with our products that are in a stick is let people try it too. And that's one of the easiest things, especially if they're an influential person. You better be careful with samples because they cost a lot of money, but if it's an influential person who's the owner or a leader or a business person, it's really easy just to share it with somebody and let them have an experience with it, especially when you can share a story like that that backs it up. Who else had a question? Who was one of the first people? There was 3 people that raised their hand when we first asked for questions. It was you in the back. Can you come up here and ask it?
Run.
You guys are awesome. How's that? I just wanted to say that. Okay, I was talking to the girls from the office of New Zealand. I don't know if there's any in here or their products area. Anyway, they mentioned something earlier about with the trying to keep up with people, and they just said, look, we have to use programs that notify us via a calendar how to, you know, they're coming up for auto ships and things. And I thought, why not apply that to some people's home PCs? Like I'm thinking of doing it. I don't know if you guys use any sort of PC calendars or anything.
What do you use to keep track of your time? What apps do you use to keep track of your time? What do you use to keep track of prospects and following up with your team? Right. Okay, we have 4 minutes left, so why don't we let him answer that question?
Yeah, just quickly. The website, has there been any information on updates for our websites and that? I heard a little talk last time.
Yep. The website will be user-friendly, and it'll be out as soon as it's ready. All right?
Thank you.
Before I was computer literate, I used index cards, like just what the doctor uses so he knows what conversation and what medication he had last time. And I wrote everything in there, and some people in my team still use that because they don't want to go digital. I went digital a long time ago, and now I just use Apple Calendar for everything because my phone will beep and tell me 15 minutes before what I have to do. So I got an electronic butler who forgets nothing.
Google's everywhere, and it's such an easy thing, you know. We should do a webinar for you, and in fact, we may do that at the next one on how to do that, because it is amazing the data that you can track. And if we teach you this contact mapping that we use with that copy shop interview integrated into the Google Calendar, the Google Notes, it will blow your mind. So don't go spending, Ken Smith is one guy I'm looking at right now because he's always saying I want all these products, all this stuff, you know, and all this tracking devices. You don't need any, this Google is better than you are. It will out-follow you, it will out-track you, it will outperform you. Just learn how to use it the right way. If you've got an iPhone, not calendar, and there is awesome. But I am telling you, tracking your contacts has never been better. The only problem is when it flashes you to call Joe Blow, you have to actually call him.
Okay, so we're out of time, but what time is the meeting that's happening later? 6, and that's going to be getting together and strategizing and discussing business, right? So if you have other questions, you'd like to be part of that at 6 p.m., be right back in this room, right? Oh, is it over there?
No,
it's in the next room over.
It's a
6 p.m. There is a meeting. After this, there's a meeting. So we're going to get the general session back going to end it, right? Right now. So if you need to use the restroom, run. We're going to get started again. But at 6 p.m., we are doing another business meeting in the room next door that'll be very similar to this, close quarters. So if you have other questions or things you'd like to hear from these group of leaders, be there at 6 p.m., all right? Okay, give these guys a warm thank you.